What's up with the evil eye hand thing?
Because it's cool. Welcome to Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast, the show that can't stop clearing its throat because it decided to record after we ate dinner.
Happens quite often. Actually.
Happens quite often. I mean, we have full-time jobs. I don't right now because I'm on vacation. Hope I still have a full-time job when I go back. So I am your co-host, Melanie, and tonight I'm having a nice mug of chamomile tea to kind of counteract the wildness that we'll be talking about. Also, a little bit of trivia. This is a mug that says Healthline, Health Libraries Information Network. So in a past life, I was a medical librarian. Also, I had a hard time getting to sleep last night, so I don't think alcohol would help that. And I drank the last of my wine. So it's a lot going on.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. Hi, AJ.
Hi.
What's up with you?
I don't know. I guess we're about to review the best movie franchise ever.
Okay, that's up for debate. So, what?
Better than Planet of the Apes. Better
No,
than...
wait, no. Better than Rocky? Shut up. Better than Rambo?
I'm not allowed to be sarcastic, okay.
Yeah. You're sarcastic all the time, so it's hard to tell. It's in 3D. We're also coming to you in 3D.
Oh, God.
Like, half these dumb movies we're talking about. Okay, what movie franchise are we talking about?
Fucking Final Deterioration.
Final Destination
Final
franchise.
Testicalization.
Stop it. The Final Destination franchise. That's why I'm wearing this shirt with skulls all over it, because it's lots and lots and lots of death.
I went with this because I think Finn and Jake would love this fucking franchise. Just them up late eating sentient sandwiches. Like, oh, bro, that's so gross.
Yeah, it is really gross. So I had a thought the other day that I like watching dumb horror movies in the summer because we enjoyed our Urban Legend from 1998. That was on our last video and podcast.
That was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it was dark enough, but I like
enough.
watching horror movies when it's cold and yucky and gross outside because I really hate that weather. Like, I'm miserable from November until about mid-March. I'm depressed. I hate everything. I just want to sit in front of the fire and either watch a horror movie or get really depressed and freaked out by the next season of Euphoria. So I like the really scary stuff when it's cold and gross and yucky outside. But even though I love horror, I kind of don't want to watch something super scary when, we've just been outside swimming and it's
like,
nice
it's actually
and hot
nice
outside.
and...
It's nice outside and it's hot, but you're in
not
shorts
a lot of
and a
horror
t-shirt.
movies in, like, except for Jason. There's not a lot of horror movies centered around, like, summer.
Maybe It Follows, which the
yeah, but it's Detroit. It looks like the pit of despair of winter in, like, East Berlin or something.
In the middle of the summer in Detroit, which yesterday we were in the pool and there were some basic bitches at the other end and she explained it like this. So this guy has an STD and he fucks this girl and she gets the STD and then this person follows her and it could be someone you know, it could be a stranger, and then they like kill you and then you have to give it to somebody else. So
that's not an exaggeration. She sounded
no, we
very
could hear her.
basic. Oh my God.
Yeah. He already knew to give me green tea shots when I walked into the bar.
And then I passed the joint to the judge, and I was like, fuck you, judge.
And, okay, this comes into play because that girl reminded us of two young ladies who meet an unfortunate end in the third movie. So the Final Destination franchise was 5 films, 2 comic books, and 9 novels. Like, what are you counting the Choose Your Own Adventure books, basically?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't know there were comic books and novels.
I didn't know that either. I'm very interested in how a novel would work. So if anybody's read a Final Destination novel, comment or
how would it
somewhere.
explain all this stupid Ruse Goldberg things?
Rube Goldberg?
What? Who gives a shit?
I don't know.
How would it explain that?
Stephen King sure liked to talk about the jelly-like substance of an eyeball when it's being squished.
He does do that a lot.
Yeah, he does do stuff with eyeballs. So this one follows
Squishy like this.
Squishy like this in 3D. Whoa. So they follow a pattern of somebody has a premonition. There's a mass... Stop putting that thing up. There's
my face
mass gruesome death. And then... of the survivors, the people start to die these horrible deaths in the order that they would have died had they remained at the scene of the mass death.
That part is... Strangely enough, you should get bored and just like, I'm tired of this shit. Just from that. Because it's the exact same opening.
Same.
Every single movie. There's no changing it up. The only thing that changes a little bit is like, how do we, trick death?
But I kind of like it because after a while you start to think, well, what are they going to do now? So that it was so formulaic, but it kind of worked for me. Like, I really enjoyed these movies. They're stupid. They're not good movies, but they're really fun.
Yeah.
Definitely guilty pleasure.
3 to 5 is just like a special effects artist, like, first day on the job. Like, that's just them getting practice
They
in.
just got, like, the Sam's Club discount box full of the blood packets.
Yeah, and they mixed it with watermelons.
So I'm going to go through in order, and we can kind of talk about each one, and then I have some questions to ask you at the end. So the first one takes place in the year 2000, and it starts with a group of high schoolers taking a trip to France to, I guess it's a French class or something.
I totally forgot about that.
And this guy has, and now if you haven't seen the movies before, you see this horrible accident happen, and then all of a sudden it goes back. And it's all a premonition.
And everything stepping up to the accident is like... And then something over here will be like...
So it's little things like somebody's listening to a song on their iPod, or somebody's
The
fiddling.
song thing was a little confusing. Every time that, like, a song came on, somebody was like, Dust in the Wind? I like that song. Fuck you.
I like that song too.
Don't make it like... Ooh, like, okay...
But
Worked in Jeepers Creepers.
But if you had a horrible premonition and then that song started playing, wouldn't you be freaking out like, wait,
But
it
was not even premonition time when this happens.
So it's premonition time. Now, I'd seen this done once before in the 5th Twilight movie. And that made me mad because they had this really badass battle scene and then it was just a premonition. Carlisle's head was still attached to his body. That was the only Twilight movie I liked. I hated the rest of them, and that was the only one I liked, and they took it away from me. Now, in this one, you still get the mass gruesome death, you just have a couple of survivors. So in the first one, they come off the flight, and they start to notice people start to die in these weird ways. Now, they haven't gotten into the really ridiculous deaths.
They don't entirely catch on till 3 people in. It's always around 3 people in.
They even said it in one of the movies. Twice is a coincidence, 3 is a pattern.
Yeah, it's like, okay, alright. Jimmy hung himself, and he has no hands. But, okay, that's 1. Maybe a handless boy can hang himself. That's a coincidence. Then Jennifer jumped off a cliff, but she has no legs. I don't know how she did it, but it's just a coincidence. 3, though... when Robert, with no hands or legs, shoots himself in the face. Now we got something.
Now we got
Something's
a pattern.
happening.
You're onto something, detective. No,
and
but
it's just death, like knocking over a domino. Like
yeah, and it's not like in Death Note where he just gives people heart attacks, something like that. Or the Dark Tower movie, which was so awful, except for one good part where Matthew McConaughey goes, "Stop breathing," and they just stop breathing, and they just die. So nothing like that. No. It has to be, there was a little puddle of water on the floor, and there was a screw loose in the door, and it started to fall out. And there's always water and electricity, which I feel like between stop, drop, and roll and water safety, this is basic elementary school stuff. Like, don't have dripping water around electrical wires.
Death has a hard-on for those things that you would do, like, in 90s movies, where someone, like, tips over a domino and it makes breakfast. But with, like, death.
Like in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah,
the thing that makes his breakfast.
Casper, or there were other ones. They do it in everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's how these deaths
That's
happen.
how he deaths people.
And they kind of fake you out with one. I think there's a woman in the house and the knives all fall on her. Or something, and like things keep happening, and so then it starts to get kind of fun because you're like, oh, this is how they're gonna die, but then they don't, and then it's like, oh, gross, something else happens. This one isn't too gross, but they start. There are 3 survivors left, and they start to kind of figure it out. Now, I will say, my favorite person, my horror movie crush, Tony Todd, is the coroner in this movie and in the second movie, and then he makes an appearance again in the 5th movie.
Which, after watching it all the way through, makes sense now. So let's see. The first movie, Hanging. Was the teacher next?
I think so.
Teacher was stabbed and...
By her own knives in her
She
kitchen.
was stabbed and set on fire.
Yeah. Oh, can I... By the way, we have spoilers. So
Oh, yeah,
if you
fucking-
haven't seen the movies and you want to watch them, don't listen to this video yet. But if you've seen them or you don't care, join us for this wild ride.
Also,
and hopefully,
comment your favorite death in all of them or
hopefully
something.
I won't, like, oops, spill my tea on these computer wires, and then it starts a fire, and then a bowling ball falls out of the sky on my head. Or one of those... I've seen this done in 6 Feet Under, where the compost toilet or whatever from an airplane falls out and crushes somebody.
So, like, the fifth one.
Yeah.
There's one person that just death was lazy with. It's like, meh, fucking...
There
Anyway.
are a lot of people getting squished in these movies.
Anyway, so, hanging, fire stabbing, decapitation by train,
Oh, yeah.
metal... with Sean William Scott before he really made it. And I can't remember how the other ones died. 2 more died. One with electricity and somebody...
Well, the final one at the end, so the couple of survivors who kind of figured it out that, like, okay, we can cheat death by trying to avoid dying, which, I mean, all of us are kind of doing that every day.
Tony Todd was, like, sort of like, well, if you stop death from killing somebody, it screws up the order, so he just skips them.
Yeah, so if you save somebody from dying, let's say it's the 4th person, death will skip to the 5th person. So you're trying to figure out how to cheat death.
He tells them to do something in every movie he's in, and it never works.
It sort of worked in the 5th one, but then there was a caveat. So the couple of survivors make it to Paris, and they think, oh, death can't get us here. Whereas
It's 6 months later.
Look at all these French people smoking. They're not dying. So then, yeah, it's always a couple of months later, death's like, I'm just going to let them go for a while. It's like when you haven't heard from your asshole ex in a while, and then they text you out of nowhere, and you're just like, I just got past all these feelings, and you're messing up my life again. So then, huge sign falls and, like, slices them all in half.
Yeah.
The end.
This is the other thing that's sort of, like... We watched all 5. We were totally on board to watch all 5.
Yeah, we've been binging
But part
them.
of my brain is like, why do I keep watching it? Because at the end of every fucking movie, like, they beat death, and then he just waits a couple months, and it's like, nah, fuck you. I'll just kill you all right now with a different disaster, which is only in 2 different cities in the whole franchise. So these cities were, like, super unsafe.
It's like living in Gotham or Metropolis. We're like, why are all the supervillains here? Go to fucking Chicago or San Francisco or something.
I think each one of these towns has the mayor from Jaws. He quit and he moved inland, and he's like taking bribes on the side and paying for cheap construction through prison labor or some shit. That way he can like pocket the rest of the money, and that's why all the equipment kills everyone.
Everything's fine. Come to our beaches. So anyway, the second one from 2003 kind of tries to break the pattern a little bit. So the big disaster in this one is a car pileup. And it's a girl who's going on a spring break trip or something, and she sees it all happen. So she makes friends with a state trooper who must not ever work because he just is hanging out with her the whole time trying to solve the mystery.
I mean, I guess it's a pretty big... Well, no, not even at the beginning. It's not really big mystery.
It's not to anybody else. Nobody else
It's
cares
just her being
about this.
like, I saw a thing, and everyone being like, shut up.
Somehow she figures it out. So in this one, they bring back some characters. She goes to find a girl named Clear Rivers, played by Ali Larter, who was the one survivor from the first movie. She has checked herself into a mental hospital.
Which, good job.
In a padded room as a way to
Although,
escape death.
I still find it... I feel like death could find a way. Even in a mental institution.
Choke
like
on your sandwich or something.
They don't put, like... It's not like everything's padded. Like
The toilet isn't. Fall hit her head on that metal toilet.
Yeah. He's I swear, he's into the weird domino effect thing. Okay, so...
Maybe death likes a worthy adversary.
One good thing... Or, I guess it's not good. One thing I did like about the second one, they immediately kill her friends. Like, because she gets her premonition, she's like, we gotta move, we gotta do this. They don't get into the pileup exactly, but she's out of the car and they're still in the car, and a different truck just comes through and just smashes into
They were douchebags,
and
though.
they're just dead.
They were douchebags. I didn't like them. I'm glad they're dead.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, they're easy to forget, but yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them. So in this one, they start to figure out the pattern. They try to gather the people who survived the accident, and you have some who are skeptical and some start to believe, and it starts to get a little more ridiculous with the way people die. Like somebody's decapitated by an elevator, and one guy is sliced into pieces by a barbed wire pipe.
And the kid, the watermelon kid.
No.
This kid must be made out of just pulp from everything
I
inside.
don't quite remember that, so explain it.
Okay, so let's see. Kid goes to dentist. Dentist almost murders him.
Oh, with the little, like, the plastic fish falling in his mouth and stuff. Oh, that's gross.
So that was the fake out there. And then he gets outside.
Yep.
Main girl's like, stay away from the pigeons. And he's like, what pigeons? And he runs through his...
Fuck these pigeons! Okay, because she starts to have visions, like premonitions of what's going to happen, but they don't
that's
quite make
always
sense.
super random too. Like, one movie, you don't get... In one movie, it's just like a little...
Because in the next one, it's photographs.
One movie, it's a little tickle, and in another movie, you just flat out see how things are happening. In another one, it's dreams.
Yeah,
and...
she has visions that don't quite... But they mix it up enough. They're sticking to the pattern, but they mix it up enough.
It's just funny
It's
that
not the
all
same
they
every
do
time.
is they're like, okay, we're keeping the exact same thing. Like, we got the same vehicle. It's the same Chevy, but we're gonna give it a new paint job and swap out the doors.
These movies are McDonald's. Follow the pattern. You get the same fries, same burger every time. You make rib sandwich. We eat one like once a week when that thing comes out every month. We expect the same.
This is
I expect the same from the Final Destination movies with a little bit of variation.
capitalism.
Like sometimes they'll put more sauce on my McRib, and sometimes it's fewer onions and more pickles, and it's enough variation to keep me interested for the month that the McRib is out, which should be every month, really.
So the great McDonald's theory of entertainment is now do with it what you will. Anyway, going back to the kid who almost dies but he doesn't. That's faked out like twice in the doctor's office. And then we get outside like, okay, ooh, it's not the doctor's office. Oh, it's a giant piece of glass, and his body just goes like not even pieces left. Just he was water inside.
Yeah, it was like a giant water balloon, and it was right in front of his mom.
Oh yeah, that's
like people aren't made of bone.
That's the
There's
worst
just no
part, isn't it?
bones.
It's in front of somebody like
Yeah.
important, and you just
So, yeah, but there's a little bit of a twist at the end because they start to figure out the connections between the characters. And in this one, Tony Todd says, with new life, then death is conquered or whatever. So there's a woman who's about to give birth. But somehow there's still something. So then she decides to worship the drowned god.
that's so she realizes it's not the baby because nothing's happened new with the baby, and she's like, okay, I'll kill myself by drowning. That was what my vision meant.
Yeah, because she sees a vision of a doctor kind of hovering over somebody, and maybe she thinks it's the baby coming out and being born.
She's like, a doctor tries to kill me, or a doctor tries to kill the baby. Like,
Not exactly.
What?
Again, her visions are off a little bit.
also, Tony Todd is full of shit. This coroner is just making stuff up.
But he says it in that deep husky baritone, and you're just like, tell me more, Tony Todd. Maybe I'll end up on your table someday.
I'll see you soon.
To be cremated. He must know. And that one time he just like, there you go, take a look at it. He shows him a body, and he's just like,
You can't do that with just anybody. Like, you can't just walk in off the street and like, say,
Hey,
we're
kids.
we're trying to solve a mystery here. Can you show
you
me
don't
this?
want to see a body?
Can you show me this mangled dead body? I'm like, are you a cop or
This
anything?
feels like
No.
some shit that fucking, is it Tyrone? The crackhead would do.
Yeah, I got some of them dead bodies.
Hey kids, you want to see some dead people?
Yeah, give me some crack, I'll show you a dead body. Okay, so she drowns and then is rescued So what is Dead May Never Die?
I think she's the only person who legitimately gets to live.
And
I don't think they came back to kill her later.
No,
Although they did kill the kid.
Yeah. Okay. So earlier there was a big wreck and stuff, and somebody had there was the state trooper or somebody jumped to like a teenager.
It was the
way.
crackhead dude.
Oh, the crackhead dude, and then he died.
Yeah.
Henry.
So
then that guy just blows up or something. Like a piece of grill flies over and blows him up.
Basically,
it was like a Monty Python explosion.
At some point in the movie, they reveal that everybody that's in this movie is somehow connected to somebody that was in the previous movie. So when he saves the kid from getting run over, that was Death just wanting that kid dead. So he's like, well, I gotta blow this kid up.
Because he cheated me once.
He ran over and he picked up a burger and
the
exploded.
Thing blows up.
Like, not even a propane tank would not even have made an explosion that big. That was like house devastating explosion.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the third.
We move on to the third one. So the third one is in 2006.
And this is the first
3D, where stupid shit flies at the camera. It really doesn't work when you're not watching it in 3D.
Gotta get my piece back.
So, and you got your little fidgety thing. So the third one stars the chick who is in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. She's
Ramona.
she's in plenty of things, and I'm always just sitting there going, isn't that Ramona? She's a high school senior, and she and her friends are at an amusement park.
High school senior.
I mean, they're all like 35. But she has a premonition. So first we think it's real, of course, but then it's a premonition of a horrible roller coaster accident, and people die in really gruesome, disgusting ways.
It was funny. This franchise is known for the fake out setup and then come back and whoa. And every time Melanie forgot.
Every time, because I'm like, this is a really long death scene. Like in the second one, I'm like, we get it. It's a fucking pileup. Can we change scenes? And then whoosh, it's a premonition.
It's just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so I forget every time. McDonald's. So, every once in a while I just have to have those salty fries. Or the McGriddles. Makes me want a McGriddle. So
sponsored by fucking McDonald's, I guess.
So this girl, Ramona, I'm just going to call her, had taken pictures for the yearbook. And people start to die. So it has...
This was the best of the premonition-y thing.
It was more interesting than just... Because you could explain, premonition, oh, that's something supernatural. It's almost like a cop-out, but with her, with the pictures, kind of gave clues as to how they would die.
And you could... It doesn't help anybody, but you could at least try, and you could maybe get confused and pick the wrong subject matter, and I think it was the best, of those items.
Yeah, because it can lead you down some, not quite red herring, but there's one where it's, well, maybe they're going to die this way, but it's really, it's a different picture of them, and it was a different image, like the guy with the fan, which that was gross. So this one has some really, I think you really are with the character more when they're going through these horrors of almost dying, seeing people die in these really gruesome ways. This one, I won't say which one it is yet, but for me, this one had the scariest death, not the grossest, but the scariest as in you're alive for most of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We'll get back to that, because with most of the deaths, they're really quick. They're disgusting. In the second one, there's one that made me scream. It was so gross, where there's this guy, and he's kind of a dick, but he just won the lottery, so these girls are calling him, and then it's almost funny. Like, some water spills on the floor, and a knife falls
we had
over,
4
and
fake
his
out
apartment
deaths.
catches on fire, and then finally he gets down to the fire escape, and he falls, and the ladder starts to come down. He's like, phew, okay, it stopped. And then right through his eye, and I just went and started screaming.
That was a good fake out, because
That
we were
was a
both
good
like,
fake out.
okay.
So yeah, that was the one time I screamed, because eye stuff is so gross. That was in the second one. So in the third one, that was pretty good. I liked following it. I liked the story. I liked kind of solving the mystery of what do these pictures mean.
Yeah.
Who's gonna die when? Now with this one,
And we found Dennis.
yeah, explain Goth Dennis.
If you enjoy Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and you happen to know the episode where they go back to high school, and everyone's just like, you're a fucking freak, man. You just kept saying, I am a golden god! This movie is what Dennis's life was. in high school.
If he were a goth king.
Let's just say, that death does have a conscious plan and that it's been set into motion. Great. So, Newton's third law of motion. And, well, look, I'm just guessing that it goes for death, too, when he's working in our world. Newton says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
I swear you would be of more use to me if I skinned you and turned your skin into a lampshade. Or fashioned you into a piece of high-end luggage. I could even add you to my collection.
He was like, yeah, maybe he was. Like, who knows? Maybe he just thought it was being edgy. He looks like him, he sounds like him, he acts like him. Mm-hmm. He just talks shit to everybody about everything they have an idea about. He belittles everyone the way Dennis would belittle Mac or Charlie about any idea that they have. The entire movie. And he works at like a Home Depot Lowe's. And if you know about Dennis and his tools, then it works perfectly.
Say the line.
I
have to have my tools!
I have to have my tools. I like to be bound. I like to bind. I need my tools.
So yeah, when Dennis gets a little crazed, when this kid gets kind of crazed at the end, he sounds like Dennis, which we have another kind of celebrity mini-me in the 5th movie, Baby Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, there is a fake-out premonition at the end, and you think, oh, okay, they're all right. But then, nope, they all die. So everybody dies in this one.
Let's see, wait. How did they... Oh,
the subway.
Yeah, the subway train.
So in the...
And then they gave her a premonition for that one too, and she couldn't do anything
Couldn't
about it.
do shit.
I think Death is the one doing this. Death is the one giving them the premonitions, because every once in a while he gets bored and he wants a challenge.
Maybe.
And then whenever he... Maybe he's the one whispering in Tony Todd's ear, like, tell them that I'll leave them alone if they step on a crack and break their mama's back.
I wonder if it's like, okay, Warren Buffett diversifying his investments, like... the Nebraska Furniture Mart, and he owns trailer parks too, which seems a little predatory to me, but okay. But I like Warren Buffett because he still drives his old Honda from whenever. So, but at this point, this man is a multi-billionaire. You don't need to really make any more money, but he likes it. He's good at it. He gets bored. He wants to do something different. So, but with Death, you're guaranteed. It's like Warren Buffett is guaranteed to make money. Death is guaranteed to get all of us, every single one of us on this godforsaken planet, will die, so Death wants to keep it a little interesting.
Maybe.
Have a little fun with it.
Also, I think God is afraid of this guy that he hired to be Death. Like, maybe he got rid of the last guy. The last guy was cool. He just, whenever he could help it, he's just like, heart attack. His lung gave out. Shit like that. Cancer.
Old age. Fuck. I liked this guy.
And then this Death came in, and he was a little cracked out. And when God tried to sit him down and talk to him about it, he freaked him the fuck out. It's like, what, you don't like my masterpiece?
I'm just doing my job.
I did this for you. You know that. Don't you? And then God's just like, yeah, man. You're doing a great job. 3% raise. Yeah, get back out there.
So that brings us to the 4th movie from 2009, which is not called Final Destination 4. It's called The Final Destination, which kind of makes me think of one of our other favorite ridiculous franchise series, Fast and the Furious. So the first movie was called The Fast and the Furious, and then it was 2 and 3.
No, it was 2 and Tokyo Drift. And then Fast and Furious.
But the 4th one, they just got lazy. It wasn't, let's do Fast and Furious 4. And this was just Fast and Furious. We don't
and
have
then
time
it just
for the
kept going, though. Then it was Fast 5, and then it was like... Fuck 6 or something. Like...
Part 7. I don't know. The Fate of the Furies. So this one's called The Final Destination. We think, okay, maybe they think it's the end of the franchise, which there's a 5th one and talks of a 6th one. So they keep making that money off these dumb movies. So with this one, the big disaster is at a racetrack. And so this guy with his young friends has the premonition, and a ruckus ensues, and they get out, and some other people around them leave, and then the whole things catch on fire, things blow up, the building collapses, lots of people die.
It really took its time showing all the individual deaths before he, rewound. Like...
Oh, yeah, like this premonition was a long one.
Also, the effects are especially bad. Like, this is where it was already 1 and 2 they had some sort of bad effects sometimes, but they were simpler. And then once 3 happened, it was 3D. Hold on, let me. Damn it!
You keep missing the camera.
I know.
Okay, it's 3D. Woo!
Once it was 3D, the effects just got worse. Although the third one at home had a pick your own adventure type thing set up
on the DVD.
So if you can find the DVD, that's fine. Anyway.
Yeah, we just watched it on HBO, so we didn't get to do that.
It started going downhill at 3, 4 took a big drop, and 5 was still pretty bad, but they didn't come up with like too many crazy types of death. So.
No, it seemed like they really, the deaths in 4 took a while, and then the 5th one they were still really gruesome, but they were a little quicker. Except with the one with the eye laser thing. That was,
5 took forever.
On the
to
deaths?
get to its story and everything.
Oh, to get to the story, yeah.
I mean, they had a couple. Anyway.
Okay, so
we're talking about the 4th one.
Oh, that one has another fake out ending where you think, oh, okay, they figured it out.
It's always a fake out.
They've cheated death, and there's maybe 3 survivors. It always seems to be 3 survivors. And they get to the end, and like, maybe we're meant to be here in this peaceful cafe at once, and then a semi-truck just comes barreling towards the
and
cafe,
then we
and they're all
get,
dead.
And then we get 1,000 Ways to Die, Mortal Kombat, X move type, like...
The credits? I
yeah,
can't remember if that was in 4 or 5 or both.
It was 4.
Okay, so it shows like the X-rays. I know they do it in 5 because they show some the deaths from all the movies.
They showed every single fucking one.
Yeah.
So okay, wait.
So like an X-ray of a skull being lopped off a spine and ribs being crushed.
Anyway, back to 4. We have, let's see, racetrack explosion. They fuck off.
Like you do.
There's racist guy, security guard.
Mom.
Oh yeah, the mother, the 4 friends, 3 or 4.
It was two
two
girls and 2 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And okay, fuck the redneck dude.
Yeah, he deserved to die.
That was the best one.
But there were
it was also the dumbest.
It was dumb, but we'll talk about that in a minute. There were some really good scary fake outs. Like there's a part with a car wash, and one of the girlfriends gets trapped in there in her car, and it stops the car, and her sunroof is open, and it starts clogging up, and she can't get out, and her head's stuck, and all this stuff, and then her friend saves her.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah, that was scary. That was a really good fake out with the dude. He just was like, he was dead.
Yeah, I almost forgot how she died because it built that scene up so much, and then she got out of it.
Because then there was, I think they started this in the 3rd movie. They would have another premonition at the end. So, like, he had the one about the movie theater blowing up and everything.
Oh, okay.
But she still died in it because she didn't leave. So, let's move on to the 5th one from 2011 called Final Destination 5.
Oh, wait. One thing I want to say about the 4th one. Most fucked up re-premonition thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
poor old George.
So, okay, this is the funniest shit in the entire franchise. George is awesome. He's the security guy. And this wasn't 4, right? Where he tries to kill himself and it won't work?
Yes.
Okay, so he tries to kill himself 3 or 4 different ways. They come in, they just know, like, something's wrong. We gotta talk to George. And he's, like, hanging, and he just won't suffocate.
And then the rope snaps?
And then it breaks. And he's just, man, I've been trying to kill myself all fucking day. And he's like, I got in my car, and it stalled, so I couldn't, like, monoxidize myself. And then
he took pills and just threw them up.
Yeah, and I think the only other time this happened, I think in the 2nd one, there was a guy that tried to shoot himself and the gun wouldn't go off.
That's right. That was in the 2nd one.
So it did. They fucked with it a couple times. You can't die outside of the order.
Yeah. You can't die outside of the order, and I think Death has a specific plan for you. So his death shows up in the premonition that the guy has, and I think, okay, good, he's gonna save George. Nope.
So sometimes people get a second premonition that's super long. Like it's almost another 5th or 4th of the movie, and then it goes back. And the second premonition is always the most dickish, because He sees all that shit. He goes way back, and he's like, George, fuck.
He got run over again.
Fuck.
And then he just keeps
All right.
running because he's got people to save.
Like, he doesn't... I emoted more than he did in the movie. He was just like, shit, okay.
Yeah.
He leaves.
Okay.
So the premonition told him how George was going to die and then just did it in front of him.
Yeah, death is a dick. So, 2011, this one starts out with people going to a corporate retreat, which, as somebody who does corporate retreats, that sounds absolutely awful. That's the disaster of this movie. So, they go and there's a bridge collapse. Same pattern. Guy has a premonition. He freaks out, says, "We gotta get off the bus." So he gets a couple of people off the bus.
In a way, I do find this the most interesting one.
The most interesting disaster?
Yeah, well, okay, the subject matter is not as interesting. Oh, a bus on a bridge. But they actively try to get away. So it's not just, let's super slow show how everybody dies. It's like, they're actively...
In the premonition, they're trying to get away? Is that what you're talking
they're
about?
trying to survive, so you get to see them, like...
It's really drawn out with the first premonition, and then the
Yeah.
second one, they're just like, let's run over here. Oh, no, the bridge collapsed. Okay. So with this one, this guy, and it's very confusing, like they all work for the same company, but one guy's in sales, one guy works at a manufacturing plant, and one guy's a chef. I don't know if that's his second job
Okay.
or what.
So I think I figured it out.
Oh, and David Koechner is their boss from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. So, this is a conglomerate from The Office. What was his name? Fuck. Packer. Packer left Dunder Mifflin, started this company.
That was David Koechner, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or manages this company. And he works in the sales division. And the black kid works in the in-between spot like Daryl.
Oh, kind of in
So
manufacturing
he's like in
supply chain.
He talks to the sales division, but he's a manager over the actual workers.
Yeah.
And then the actual main guy, he just happens to do culinary stuff on the side.
That's his dream job, and he has an offer to go to Paris, which he
Also-
and his girlfriend talk about, and she works there too.
Also, there's a girl who does gymnastics, so that makes it even more confusing. That's why it was like, okay, there was like 4 people with 3 different jobs or something. And this movie felt like it was a comedy. The whole first...
The way the gymnast died.
15, 20 minutes.
God, that was
not,
gross.
Not even to that part. The first 15, 20 minutes felt like a comedy. With all the people that were in it, like the kid from Fired Up was the main kid.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Packer shows up. He's a douchebag immediately. Like, he does his immediately, like, asshole to the new guy type thing.
Yeah. Baby Tom Cruise.
Baby Tom Cruise is, like, giving bad relationship advice to the Fired Up kid. It felt like a fucking romantic comedy.
Yeah, and when Baby Tom Cruise, I don't know the actor's name, but he looks like him.
It sounds like him.
And I feel like he had that agent saying like, "Oh, you look like a young Tom Cruise. Your career's gonna take off."
I really wanted to, though, because he does look and sound like Tom Cruise.
He's a good-looking guy, and then when he gets a little crazy, you could see the Tom Cruiseness
I
coming out.
wanted him to laugh. I just want to hear him do that.
Maybe that actor needs to join Scientology, and he'll have the same results.
He could tell Cruise he's his bastard child, or like an alternate version of him.
Or if they did a movie with Tom Cruise and then there's a flashback to a young Tom Cruise, have this guy play him. Give this guy a job playing young Tom Cruise.
Yeah, just for us.
Just for us. Okay, anyway. So they start to figure out the pattern. Guess who's back on scene? My favorite coroner, Tony Todd. But he gives them a new piece of advice with that to cheat death, you have to take a life. So you have to murder somebody. And Death is like, okay, this works.
This seems
That's fine, just trade it in.
This seems to be the only one that sort of works, like, but it's still debatable.
As horrible as it is, that logic makes sense.
Yeah, but it's okay. Well, as we go on, I'll explain. But by the time we get to the end, I'll explain it. I guess.
Okay.
Tony Todd is full of shit.
Don't talk about my horror movie crush that way.
The coroner that he plays is full of shit.
Yeah.
Every time he comes up with a new thing, it doesn't work.
Not exactly. So they start to figure out the pattern, or their main guy does, and baby Tom Cruise, there's always one that kind of breaks off and was like, oh, it's a kill or be killed type of thing. In the premonition, main guy's girlfriend had survived. So she's not in the lineup, and so baby Tom Cruise goes to the restaurant where the main guy's working, and he stayed after hours, made his girlfriend dinner. He was like, why are you special? Why didn't death get you? So he thinks he has to kill her to be able to survive, because before, the guy that worked at the manufacturing plant had an argument with this guy who'd always kind of had it out for him, and they're sort of pushing and shoving, and this big crane hook comes down and impales the other man. So he didn't mean to, but he kind of accidentally pushed him in front of it. So you think death has skipped him because he gave a life.
He's okay.
And it saved his. And so baby Tom Cruise is like, haha, I'm going to kill this girl, and then death will skip me.
But you swap the death with the person you killed. So, well, maybe not the death, but like the time of death.
I thought you got the years they had left.
Yeah.
That feels very Shinigami to me.
Yeah, so you get like their time, whenever they're supposed to die, that's when you're gonna die.
Okay.
So.
Oh, now that makes sense. Okay.
See, this is where I'm.
All right, why don't you talk about the rest of it?
Okay, so baby Tom Cruise doesn't work out.
Well, the other guy stabs him.
Fired up, kills him.
With a big meat rotisserie thing.
Oh yeah, it was.
Right,
I was like.
I mean, he had it coming. He was shooting at them.
Yeah, he's a dick.
And his boss had said, "Oh, you can stay after hours, but clean up the restaurant." He's French, so this asshole turns on all the gas burners, all the deep fryers, makes a mess out of this nice restaurant. So kind of fuck you. I don't like when people fuck with somebody's job.
Just because his gymnast girlfriend had bones made of like PVC pipe.
She fell off the bar and broke in half.
Like literally.
Like
she snapped into pieces and bones came out of her legs for no reason.
Yep.
Anyway. So
I'd be a little upset too.
Okay, so we kill him, we get to the end of the movie, reveal it's actually a prequel.
Yes! I was so excited when this happened. I was sitting there on the couch going, yes! Yes, this is awesome! So the main guy accepts the job offer to go study at restaurants in Paris, and he asks his girlfriend to come with him. So they get on the plane. And guess what happens? They show people arguing and being kind of pulled off the plane. The guy from the first movie who had the premonition, getting chills now talking about this. And so he looks at his ticket and it says May 13th, 2000, flight 180. And I'm like, it's all happening. That's why they had shitty cell phones. It's supposed to be the year 2000. And so, of course, she dies. She gets thrown out of the plane and he dies in the explosion. So then they cut to a bar where they're doing a memorial for the guy that had died at the manufacturing plant. And our friend is there, and
some asshole's talking to him, the foreman or something, and he's like, it's probably a good thing, because apparently he was gonna die any day now.
The guy had an aneurysm, I'm like, how can you tell from the autopsy the way his body was mangled? But this other guy says to him, well, he was gonna die, he had something that was terminal, and so the guy is like, oh shit.
And then an entire airplane engine falls on him.
And squishes him.
It looks like epic movie or one of those 6 movies down the line from Scary Movie. That's the effects we're working with here.
At this point, so we have a fun closing. So it goes Final Destination 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it goes through not every single death, but all the craziest ones. And then the last scene before credits is Tony Todd walking off saying, "Y'all be careful out there."
Okay, so this is my problem.
I love these movies. They're disgusting, but I love them.
The swap thing.
The twist,
worked
chef's kiss
for the kid that was managing the workers, whatever. Okay, but he picked somebody that was gonna die any day now, so it sucks for him.
Death was like, "Oh, I'll go take Death out."
Okay, this is what I said during the movie. I don't think that you can kill one of the other people in the group because you were all supposed to die anyway. So when Fired Up kills baby Tom Cruise, it didn't count.
Aha, okay.
So that's why they die on Flight 180.
Aha.
Although, if they had all died in the original pileup on the bus, what's-her-name would have survived, but she wouldn't have gone to Paris.
Oh, the girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe...
Death, you're playing a weird fucking game.
Yeah.
Weird game.
I hope I just die in my sleep at 106 like Mother Abigail with like an empty whiskey glass by my bed.
If you want to be afraid of glass for the rest of your life, watch all of these movies in succession.
Glass and like water and electricity. We get it. They don't mix. Holy shit.
Yeah, we kept hoping that the dude from the fourth one was going to turn into like the safety supervisor of the town, like Homer Simpson.
We had just watched that episode where Homer tries to throw himself off the bridge, but then he saves his family from this dangerous intersection, and he kind of becomes the safety guy of Springfield. It's in season 1. And so we thought, this guy in the fourth one is just like, this intersection is unsafe. I see loose wires hanging up there. Some children could fall off this.
Yeah, he stops the guy. It's like, oh yeah, hey fellas, is that supposed to hang like that? And he's like, oh yeah, we'll get right on that. Which they don't. No. It still kills him. But
yep. So
now on to the questions.
Let's do some rapid fire questions. Number 1, favorite character. Tony Todd as the coroner. He's my favorite.
I would say him if he wasn't such an asshole. Let's see, maybe the girl that survived the first one in the second movie.
The one who checked herself into the mental hospital? Yeah, she was
because
cool.
she was the most on top of things. She actually took everything serious. So many of these people don't take shit serious. That bitch in the fourth one that was like, I was supposed to be here watching this movie, and the thing explodes and kills her.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really? Like, your friend told you she's got a weird feeling, like premonition-y feeling, and you just got saved by a premonition. You're like, you dumb bitch, that's not real.
Okay, so William Bloodworth Corner for me, and Clear Rivers for AJ. Number 2, who deserved to die the most?
The redneck was...
The redneck from 4. He
was trying to burn a cross in the black guy's yard.
He called George, who is black, the N-word, like he actually said the word, and he had a swastika tattoo and a Confederate flag t-shirt, and so he's understandably angry because his wife died in the collapse of the racetrack and George wouldn't let him go. He was trying to keep people safe. He wouldn't let him run back in to try to save his wife. So he gets drunk, takes his tow truck down to George's house, and is going to burn a cross in his yard. Hilarity ensues. He gets dragged by his tow truck, catches on fire.
It's the dumbest, slowest one of all the deaths. Like,
it's not the slowest.
It has the least...
But it's dumb.
It's pretty slow. He mostly gets caught on fire to death.
Yeah.
Like his burning head, which isn't melting, gets blown into the dude's yard.
His face, which still has eyes, which they would be burst by then, eyes and a mouth screaming, fall into George's yard. So it looked like it was from a plastic mannequin.
But it had the dumbest setup. Like, it was just... it's rolling and the chain hit the asphalt and somehow that started a fire.
The sparks. But, okay, back to the original question. Who deserved to die the most? Do we need fewer racist rednecks cluttering up the voting booths? Yes. Take them out. Just that guy.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. There's really nobody else that's really that bad. Like,
Baby Tom Cruise kind of had it coming.
Yeah, he was an asshole.
He was trying to murder people.
I was cool with it when that girl I mentioned got just crushed or exploded or whatever. I was cool with that.
Wait, which girl?
The one that was in the movie theater.
Oh, yeah. She was being stupid.
She was a bitch. Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
okay. Number 3. Most outrageous disaster.
I could see the bridge falling in.
I could see the plane crash. I could see the car pile up. So that leaves the roller coaster and the racetrack. Maybe the racetrack, because not only is there a car explosion, but the entire building collapses.
Yeah, like there's pieces falling on people. The fence just doesn't hold up and do its job at all. It's like the shittiest building that's ever been made. The roller coaster, you hear about stories of roller coasters. The Texas whatever.
The Texas Giant?
Yeah, that one beats the shit out of people if you ever go and ride on it.
Yeah, it gives you a headache because it's wooden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I'd have to go with the racetrack.
Yeah. In 3D. Okay, number 4, the grossest death.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Wait, no, that's not the same. Fuck. I got one for the worst special effects, but, the grossest. I don't know. It's pretty... There's people that are just disintegrated in one foul swoop. People cut in half. Lots of exploded.
The fire escape going through the guy's eye was awful. Ugh.
Like, are we talking the most gross looking, or gross
looking?
Okay.
Not they were all gross in different ways, but like just gross to look at. Because I like horror movies, but I really don't like gross stuff. That's why I watched the first Saw movie.
And yeah, we watched all of these.
I loved it, but I don't want to see the subsequent ones. I know a guy gets lasered and his head peels apart. I don't want to look at that. That's nasty.
Yeah, let's...
Okay, there was another one for me, which I get freaked out by eye stuff. So this girl's going to get laser surgery, and so she's got one eye kind of wedged open.
That one's pretty bad.
And her head is stuck in this thing. And the laser goes too high and starts lasering her face and her eye. And she gets away, but then she falls out the window. So the eye stuff, that was freaky.
Yeah. I guess the one where the crackhead gets, like, split in half by the razor wire.
By the barbed wire? Yeah. That was dumb and also gross. Okay, number 5, the most terrifying death. Like, this is the one you would least want to go through.
Tanning booth.
The tanning booth.
Easy.
From number 3. These 2 girls are in tanning beds, which I've never done and I will never do, especially after watching this. And hilarity ensues. Rube Goldberg stuff happens. They get trapped, and then the tanning beds, the heat keeps going up, and they start, it's burning their skin, and then they just burst into flames and catch on fire. And they're trapped. They can't push it up or anything. So they're in these coffins burning to death.
They could have just shoved the board over into one of them and then climbed out and pulled it out.
But that was awful, though, because they don't die. With some people, they die immediately.
Oh, okay.
With this one, they didn't die immediately. So that's my first one. The second one was the eye one, because that's just like, freaky.
Okay, I have a better answer for the grossest. And it's not because of what you see. It's just what it is. And that's when the pool sucks out a dude's asshole.
Oh, yeah. Ew. And they don't show... They exercise restraint on that one, which was weird.
Well, I mean, they
show like a
still
little thing of
chunks coming out of like the vacuum thing on the other
some
side.
Some intestines come up, but we don't see his body.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was gross.
That's probably the nastiest idea.
Yeah. I read about that in I can't pronounce his last name, but the guy who wrote Fight Club wrote about that in a different book. His books are weird. So, okay, we did the most terrifying death, the tanning booths. All right, number 6, let's rank the movies. Oh, you're yawning. He yawns in every video, so we'll wrap this up soon.
I just yawned to yawn.
I know you do. Okay, let's rank from best to worst. What?
How many more questions?
5 more.
Okay,
so
cool.
let's wrap
best
fire.
to worst. 2, 1, and 2 is the best one. 1 and 3 are pretty close for me. Like, I'll give 1 credit for being the original, and 3 is probably the most middle of the road entertaining. And then I don't know which is worse, 4 or 5, because 5 is probably the most boring up until the big twist.
The big twist at the end redeems it, but it is boring compared to the other movies.
But I probably had more fun making fun of the 5th one. I don't know. 4 and 5 are pretty even with me.
It's guilty pleasure. Yeah, I think that's me. Well, for me, the best one. Which one did you say was the best
2.
one? 2, yeah, because 2 is really, it's the smartest.
It had some sense to it.
Yeah, they're trying to solve... I always like movies where they're trying to solve the puzzle or beat the game, stuff like that. So 2 and then 3 probably, and then maybe 1, and then 4 and 5. 5 was just I was going nuts with the twist at the end. I loved it. So those are the same for me. So, all right, number 7, the worst effects. For me, it was just the stupid 3D stuff.
I think 4.
If you're watching a 3D movie at home and then they just here's a piece of steak and it comes directly towards the camera, it's really dumb.
I think 4 because of one particular scene, where this guy gets smashed into a chain link fence.
Oh God, that was disgusting.
And it's just these big square chunks that look sloppy, and it's not even like blood's oozing out. They're just chunks,
It's
and
like,
they just.
It's like the diamond shaped of the chain link fence. It's like Play-Doh getting pushed through the
yeah,
thing.
and
It's
one
gross.
whole chunk comes out, and you see through it, and it's a perfect square. It looks like Kung Pao when he punches a hole in somebody's stomach, and it's just this big chunk of meat.
Yeah, that was gross.
It was worse than that effect in Kung Pao. So I think 4 is the worst one. It has that.
Okay. So, number 8, either the funniest death or the stupidest. I think maybe the funniest one for me is the guy who was at the dentist, and then she says, "Stay away from the pigeons," and he just, like, it is kind of fun to chase birds, but he just runs toward him like an idiot, and the thing of glass falls on him and squishes him. I'm sorry, it was funny.
Oh god. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, there was one or two where we were just fucking laughing, but now I can't really think of them.
The guy in 2 who had won the lottery ticket and his apartment catches on fire, and that one was just like, come on, when are you gonna kill him? Oh shit!
Yeah, that I can't count that one because it was too, like, it got you with the last
Yeah, it does get you at the
thing.
end. Okay, maybe for me one of the dumbest ones was one you mentioned earlier where the cocaine guy from the second one gets just like perfectly sliced in half by barbed wire.
Oh, I know. When the kid at the end of 2 just gets exploded, like, it looks like Monty Python when Tim is like blowing stuff up. It looks like that.
Yeah.
Because I vividly remember just laughing my ass off because he's just like, "All right, Mom, I'll go get the burgers."
Yeah. All right, number 9, most unrealistic.
Ooh.
Maybe the guy you mentioned earlier where he gets shoved up against the chain link fence and it just goes through it like dough. His skin and muscle and.
I want to say the gymnast girl.
Oh, yeah.
Because I could still see a car hitting a dude at a chain link fence and him dying.
Yeah.
But the gymnast girl, like, I could see a gymnast girl dying, but the way she died.
It was...
Like, bones popping out of places that didn't make sense, and, like, the coroner that came in that wasn't Tony Todd was just, like, I physically couldn't recreate what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
If I could tell you, and I could never recreate it. It's super weird.
Yeah.
So, I think that one might be the most unrealistic for me.
Okay. Number 10, the best fake out.
I mean, the second one's pretty good.
The one with the fire escape was good. I think for me, I love the twist at the end of 5. That's not really a fake out, but...
Okay. In the first one, the first time we get, like, how's she gonna die, was the teacher?
Oh, in her kitchen?
And then it didn't just end up being like, ooh, how's she's gonna die. The answer was yes. Because every death that it was like, is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that? Yes. Like, I will somehow kill you with a skillet and some knives and fire, everything, all at the same time. And electrocution, I think, maybe happened. She was Rasputin. She got Rasputin.
Yeah. Who we mentioned in our last video. I want to go back and change my answer to number 4. The grossest death was Frankie Cheeks at the drive-thru where this truck with a giant fan on it.
Oh, yeah, cut through his head.
Comes up behind him and it just like whirs through just buzzes half his head off. He was a piece of shit guy anyway, but oh, what a horrible way to die. And it was gross. It was disgusting. You could hear it. So, okay, that's my grossest death. So, yeah, the best fake out, I think the second one, because I keep thinking of that, the guy with the fire escape.
Yeah.
So, and then I love the twist at the end of 5. Okay, last question. Which series of our 2 most ridiculous movie franchise series that we love is more believable? Final Destination or The Fast and the Furious? I'm going to go with Final Destination because death comes for us all.
I was going to say, okay, to accept Final Destination, all you really got to accept is that maybe death is conscious. And that's all you gotta... And then it's all up for grabs. But Fast and Furious, you gotta accept a lot of shit.
Yeah, okay. Tej and my favorite character, Tyrese Gibson, Roman, flying this shitty Pontiac into space and surviving. Into space. Like, if you're going to put two characters in space, those are the ones I want to see. But into space!
Yeah.
And then the one in 6 where Dom jumps across the bridge and people
Catches
are always,
Letty
people
and
are always
lands on a...
jumping onto hoods of cars and there's no damage and they don't go flying off. So I'm going to say, yeah, more believable is Final Destination because people do die in really weird ways.
Yeah, in Fast, they're the exact opposites of each other. Fast and Furious, they will throw everything they can in there and no one can die.
Not a scratch.
But in Final Destination, you could safe-proof everything and you will die.
Yeah. I'm sure Clear Rivers still met her end, even if it was at old age at 97 in the mental hospital.
Oh. Character you were most satisfied with dying.
The redneck.
Okay. Oh no.
It wasn't the most fun death, but I was like, just take him out.
These movies seem to have a thing for killing perverts with brain stuff. Because
Frankie Cheeks.
And the weird asshole dude from the 5th one, the pervert dude.
Oh, yeah.
A Buddha just falls on his head and his head turns to jello.
He's at a massage parlor and he thinks it's going to be one of those happy ending places. So there's some mild racism going on there, like Asian stereotypes and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's got acupuncture needles in him. And then he falls over and they split through him. They squirt through him. And then this Buddha statue that he'd been making fun of earlier, splat, falls on his head.
Which, that must have been a heavy-ass Buddha statue. Like...
Karma's a bitch, man.
100 pounds worth of Buddha statue, which I refuse to believe, because it wouldn't sit on that little shelf.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
I have 2 recommendations. First of all, these movies are lots of fun unless you really just can't deal with blood and guts and stuff, in which that I understand that is disgusting. All right. Candyman 1 and 4, and then The Man from Earth. We want to see Tony Todd in a different light. I just want to see more of Tony Todd.
I don't know. This is... Okay. This is kind of left field, but a silly, funny, I could probably watch in the summer horror movie that is smarter than these, but still silly. Cursed. With Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay.
It's the only good werewolf movie I've ever seen.
Teen Wolf.
I never watched that.
Teen Wolf. That movie's awesome.
It's the only good werewolf movie. Teen Wolf is hardly a werewolf movie.
Yeah.
So, check it out. It's just funny. They, Michael Rosenbaum's in it too.
Oh, the
who
guy
we just talked about in Urban
in
Legends.
Urban Legends. So we watched so many movies. It's too bad we're not good at the Kevin Bacon game, because if we remembered what we watched and who was in what, we could probably be really good at the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't been in any of
We'll
these
have
movies.
to just settle for our diagram.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so many ways to join our cult and be my victim. You can follow us on Twitch, Discord. I don't understand how that works, but Discord, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, iTunes. Follow us, Movie Painter Pleasure Podcast, on Instagram, and you can follow me, Melanie Gibson, author, on Instagram. So be safe. Don't pour water on electrical wires.
Yeah.
In 3D.
Fuck.